It's got lights. It's got no lights. It's a Soundcore Rave Neo, or is it? Or is it the Soundcore Trance Go? Soundcore, being Soundcore, do different deals with different retailers, and they make little pieces of changes with the speakers, give them different names. They don't mind confusing us, as long as the retailers are happy. So, the Trance Go, no lights. The Soundcore Rave Neo with the lights. It's the same speaker. They do this with several of their party speakers. Got different names, slight adjustments in the specs, but the actual sound will be the same. But you won't know that. It's up against the all-time... Oh, it's not the all-time Power World Champion. That would be the Motion Boom. What we got is a loud speaker that is not that heavy. Goes very loud. It will annoy almost anybody sitting next to you. It's a Soundcore Motion Boom Plus. Where are we with this speaker now, Al? Well, hopefully you've been watching me for years and years and you know that it's a speaker that I find quite tiring to listen to. I am not saying it's awful, and I'm saying a lot of people are going to think this is fantastic value. They're asking about $180, 190 quid. I predict it will be almost, maybe by the time of this video, the retail will be headlines. 150 quid, $150. That's where the speaker should be. It's a party speaker. It's got party type tuning. It's got really heavy, big thumping bass, but it's not deep bass. It's got a harsh high. Now, that's partly because of the tweeters, but it's also because in the last firmware, they actually added to a bright sounding speaker a 6 kilohertz peak. Can you believe it? Not many of us can believe it, but that's what they did. So yes, you're going to have maybe some hearing issues to like this speaker, or just be going outside, you want it to go loud, and go thump, thump, thump. Then it delivers. It goes loud as, you know, I challenge you at this point, find something as loud as that for the money, and as light as that. It's about 2.5 kilo. How does that compare to the Rave Neo? That's nearer 3 kilos. You know, it really is light, and that's partly because it uses neodymium magnets, and it's got titanium woofers. But alongside those tweeters, it's just not, it doesn't really gel for me. So for me, for critical listening, for multi-genre listening, for indoor listening, over a long listen, it don't work. It's not something I recommend. It's not something I'm going to personally listen to. But does it go thump, thump, thump? Can you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So, just to make sure I got the message across. This is a speaker some will love and some will hate. It's that kind of a speaker. That is going to happen, and everybody will be right. If it suits your taste and your ears and it works, great. If it doesn't, don't buy it or send it back once you got it, because you will have to be able to live with harsh highs. I predict that's down to the tweeters, and EQ is not really going to help with that. It's a thin, lean, mean, aggressive, in-your-face sound. Great for parties. It's up against a speaker that I have liked for a long time, but it's got issues. The Soundcore Rave Neo. You can hook up 100 of them. 100, yes, you can go out and find 100 of these speakers. It's PartyCast version 1, because now they've got PartyCast version 2, but you can connect. But you can connect not just 100, you can still do TWS, true wireless stereo pairing, with a pair of them. So it covers both bases, because a lot of their speakers are either TWS or PartyCast, but this is one of those speakers that does both. Thing about Soundcore is you can change the nature of the sound, the default sound signature in custom EQ. The custom EQ, when it's 0, when you go to all those sliders and they say 0, that is signature tuning. And then you can start messing around with it. But just remember, signature tuning is by no means flat. So both from Soundcore. This is actually a cheaper option, but it's always been a speaker I quite like for outdoors. It's capable of a really lovely warm bass, but that does drop off as you go up the volume. And it's got problems with the mids and stuff, where big dips, big peaks. Overall, I think it does sound nice, especially for the money. But again, not without issues. So, a loudspeaker. So when I set this at 60%, I still have to set that to about 80%, I predict. Yes, about 85% on the Rave Neo. Because this is all about using the equivalent when you would use this. I don't think you should be buying this if you're going to listen below 60%. It's going to be bass heavy and not come alive. But at 60%, it's loud. You can have a party, and it's it can be a lot of fun. So that's why I'm doing these. I'm not doing low volume tests in these comparisons, just to give you an idea where you will be if you want a speaker that plays loud. About 60% for the Motion Boom Plus comparison.
Trying when you live in black and white. I can take one more lie. Never thought someone could have so much to hide. We were so close, where did the love go? Lost on desire, desire. Now we tiptoe into the unknown, walking all night, all night on thin ice. All night on thin ice. Tug of war, tug of war. We tiptoe into the unknown. We were so close. Where did the love go? Lost on desire, desire. Now we tiptoe into the unknown, walking all night on thin ice. Jumping around like da 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 da. No one's gonna stop us now. Jumping around like da 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 da. No one's gonna stop us now. 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 Everybody likes to lose their mind sometimes. It's nice. Everybody feels a little broken inside, and that's alright. Sometimes you need someone to love you, even if you can't see their face. Sometimes you need an easy escape. What's lost if we stay in this place? Jumping around like da 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 da. No one's gonna stop us now. Jumping around like da 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 da. No one's gonna stop us now. 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 Jumping around.
Very close in terms of the mids between the Rave Neo and the Motion Boom Plus until you hit upper mids. That's where the Boom Plus is stronger. That's where the Rave Neo has a bit of a dip. It is a bit wavy in its sound signature. Overlaying the original track, you see that 3.5 kilohertz peak is unnatural. We have boosted the high end, bring out those vocals a bit more. And the bass roll-off is from 70 hertz and down already. But in terms of upper bass, about the same. It's 100 hertz and below where the Boom Plus takes over. By the time you hit the deep bass, it's 5 decibels up on the Boom Plus. At lower volumes, this can play quite deep. You know, almost sitting around that, obviously rolled off, but you can hear some of that 40 hertz mark, which is about the limit for these kind of speakers. But at these volumes, that's not happening. So we're missing the best of the Rave Neo. I just have to get across, this is about a comparison if you're wanting to buy the Boom Plus, and in the way I predict you would use the Boom Plus, that's going to be the equivalent. You don't buy that for low volumes. Get the Rave Neo for it. It does sound lovely and warm at lower volumes. But yeah, it's not winning this battle at these volumes. I was expecting more from the Rave Neo, knowing what it can do at lower volumes. But it's not a match now. Even though actually at 40 hertz, they are about the same, minus 36 dB, they are the same. But that's not the whole story. We're still overall deep bass, 5 decibels louder on the Motion Boom Plus, 4 decibels louder in terms of mid bass. But in upper bass, they're about the same. So you're getting more of an upper bass nature from the Rave Neo, where it's more mid-bass. It's certainly not deep bass nature, but it's a mid-bass with an upper bass slant on the Motion Boom Plus. Then it's a bit more, with my tuning, it's a bit more mids focused on the Boom Plus, but then we've got more of the highs with my tuning. As I said, there are problems with the Rave Neo. The tuning is going to be a matter of taste. You can't tune it flat. There isn't enough leeway in the EQ given the peaks and dips on the Rave Neo. So maximum volume, we can already see where we are with the volume scale, but just what is the difference when you play the Motion Boom Plus loud? And that really is one of its big selling points. It plays loud. Just how much better will it be at maximum volume? Let's have a listen.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. Girls with their I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. Girls with their girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done now.
Just under 4 decibels louder on the Motion Boom Plus, near 2.5 decibels up in terms of peak. As you can see, it's louder everywhere on the Boom Plus, except for around that 9 kilohertz peak. It is in custom mode on the Rave Neo. We do have the low mids dip. Overall, quite an unnatural sound signature on the Rave Neo compared to the Motion Boom Plus. As always, it's that 6 kilohertz peak that is the issue on the Boom Plus. It goes loud, it's still got a wallop. But the problem with this, it's that 6 kilohertz peak is giving it an edge where it's quite nasty. So if you just want the volume, it's delivering. But in terms of actually being able to listen to that for a while, well, for me personally, it's a bit of an ouch on my ears. But again, if you're having a party, there's only one speaker here that you're going to be using 6 decibels up in overall bass, but it beats it out everywhere. It just hasn't got the volume. So, we're saying these are wins for the Motion Boom Plus. It's all down to what volume you're going to be playing at. These speakers that I've been comparing simply don't have the leeway to go that loud in terms of maximum volume. So of course there's only going to be one speaker. It's just not the whole story. It has a quirky nature to the sound of the Motion Boom Plus. It does some things right and other things are horrendous. That's why I still maintain this is going to be one of the most divisive speakers that we have listened to recently, because some people are going to love it and some people are going to hate it. I can't say I hate it, but I ain't going to listen to it. They don't suit my ears at all. Who knows if they can get the tuning right? Maybe I've said multiple times, I don't think the tweeters are up to the job. So not much you can do about that. So just to quickly go over, differences in spec, of course they're all made in China. You can pick the Rave Neo up for about £114, $114. So if they kept this at $190, 180 quid, 2 of those is actually, so we already saw 2 Motion Booms can outdo the Boom Plus. It's going to be the same with the Rave Neo because you're going to play it at low volumes because you've got 2 that are going louder overall, and you're going to be more in the sweet spot where you do get that deeper bass. But at volumes, you ain't going to be playing the Motion Boom Plus. It's not a big enough battery in the Motion Boom Plus. 46.1 watt hours. Given how loud it goes and how much bass it produces, that battery is going to deplete quite quickly. People are telling me 5 to 6 hours at 50% volume. That ain't good. 36 watt hours are more reasonable given its output on the Rave Neo or, of course, the Trance Go. They are both SBC, Bluetooth 5.3 Boom Plus, Bluetooth 5 for the Rave Neo. Both do stereo pairing and both do Partycast, but it's Partycast 2 on the Soundcore Motion Plus. Both have USB-C connections, both have auxiliary inputs, both can be used as a power bank, and being Anker comes with their Power IQ, so it will deliver fast charging if indeed the device being charged supports it. Can use both of them as a phone speaker. Only the Rave Neo has the hypnotic lights. We've talked about these 80 watts multiple times. 80 watts, they're not telling us how they measure it, but it's not as bad as JBL, where they probably would just double that figure. And the Rave Neo rated at 50 watts, about 3 kilos for the Rave Neo versus the 2.4. It is a light speaker, and that's one of the big pluses for this speaker, given how loud it goes. IP67 for the Boom Plus means it's dust proof and can be dropped in 1 meter of water for 30 minutes, whereas it's IPX7, so not dust proof, but it will do the water thing as well, and they will both float. We've got a single 110mm woofer and a 60mm full range driver. One big passive radiator on the back, and there's the handle, the handy handle, as you can see, where we got two 90mm woofers, two 25mm harsh, I've got to say, tweeters, and two passive radiators on either side. But only the Motion Boom Plus has titanium drivers, and of course it has a neodymium magnet. Motion Boom Plus, in my experience, has been great for streaming. YouTube 33 milliseconds is brilliant, as good as I've ever tested, whereas 185 milliseconds for the Rave Neo is really, really poor. Of course, they're both from Soundcore, so they both have fantastic support in the app in terms of custom EQ and setting that custom, but it's still not quite a graphic equalizer. Only certain bands can you tailor. So I keep getting this, well, you should just bring all the sliders down and start from... Got to understand, bringing all the sliders down to -6, they say decibels, because it's not really decibels, but bringing all the sliders down leaves peaks all along, because you're only bringing down those specific bands. So all those who think they know what they're talking about, no, you can't do that. That's pretty much a wrap. It goes loud, and as we're finding out, can out-muscle almost any speaker. Just know that's not the whole story. The story is, does it still sound nice to your ears? And what kind of scenario are you going to be listening to this? This is a party speaker that delivers spadefuls with no deep bass, but lots of thump, thump, thump from the mid and upper bass. But it's going to have a harsh high. But if it's just about cutting through background sounds, if it's going outdoors, it's going to work. For the money and for the weight, it delivers. But it's not for serious listening. The Rave Neo, you can do some serious listening. I've not heard a pair of them. I can imagine it sounds great. At lower volumes, 85% is well past its sweet spot. But at those lower volumes, some lovely, deep, warm bass. That's been my Motion Boom Plus versus the Soundcore Rave Neo. And I might see you in another video. Thank you.
I ain't about that life. I ain't about that life. Ain't no project wife, got my logic right, cause I'm not your type. I ain't about that life. I ain't about that life. Sorry, ma, I ain't get it right. I'ma just live my life. I ain't about that. I ain't about that life.